Yeah. tystein.com.
tystein.com for all the people on YouTube.
Ow. For those that are too from for YouTube.
You couldn't get a .org? You already have a show.
That's right. No, it's Peretz's shul. Sometimes I dive in there.
Oh, right here. Again.
Rabbi?
Okay. Yeah.
It worked. He says he wanted me to let you know.
No idea what you're talking about. Talking to me?
Yeah. I spoke to Harvey. He told me to tell you. He wanted me to ask me to tell you that it's work now.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Baruch Hashem. All right. Are we ready to roll? Okay, so we're up to.
Did you do this?
Yes. What do we get up to?
You mean wait, we're just starting now?
Yes.
So I can throw this all out?
No, we started 20 minutes ago.
Well, you're upset you didn't.
We're finishing in 30 seconds.
What?
I thought it was like the Sukkot Zimmer, if they come 15 minutes late,
Yeah.
No comment there, Miss Anteg.
Yeah, you can't do that by Sukkot Zimmer either, okay?
If you daven at Kaplan shul and you come 10 minutes late, you'd be done.
It's happened.
That's Shabbos, Shachris with Musaf and Lenin.
Yeah. Anyways, I have to tell you a maifis that happened today in the schus of the Olam. So yesterday we were discussing eating before havdala, right? That you can't eat before havdala. Tonight's chafei.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my grandmother's yard site. There we go. Yeah, it's your grandmother's yard site, Aaron Kaplan, and Peretz's too.
Yep.
Gittel Bas
Aaron
Eliezer. Yes.
Aaron Eliezer.
Yeah. Anyways, so we were discussing that eating before havdala, right? That you're not allowed to eat before havdala. And then we said that there's a situation. I had said I never got the shaila ever that a guy that if you eat before havdala, I'm saying if you forget to say atachan antanu and Shemona Esrei and Motzei Shabbos, and then you eat before havdala, then you have to daven Shemona Esrei again as a knas. Today, a guy texted me that Motzei Shabbos, I tell you, never had this. Today he texted that Motzei Shabbos, he forgot atachan antanu, and then he ate before havdala. What should he have done? But here was his shaila. He said
Malchus.
He said Baruch HaMavdil before he ate. So does that count as atachan antanu? Right?
Doesn't it?
I think it does, no? As long as it's a Baruch HaMavdil.
No, it doesn't.
Really?
Doesn't. Not for this. Not for this. It does not count. It counts as that Shabbos is over, but it doesn't count to get you that you have to redaven Shemona Esrei again. Right?
You have to daven Shemona Esrei again? To say atachan antanu? Why do you have to?
Again, if you forget atachan antanu, and then
you don't daven marav,
eat before havdala, you have to daven Shemona Esrei again. That's the halacha. Yeah. Okay. Now we're on to.
1 second. What did you say, Baruch HaMavdil?
That's what I just said. That was the guy Shiloh. Today, the guy Shiloh was if he said Baruch HaMavdil, the place can say it doesn't work. But it doesn't work. You still have to daven Shemona Esrei again. Yeah. Okay, so now for all those schnapps drinkers, this is your daf. Yeah, so Amri, yeah, it's about 10 lines down from the top. Yeah, that's what we're up to. So Amri le Mar Yenuka, Mar Kshisha, Breder of Chistel Ravashi. So Mar Yenuka and Mar Kshisha, the sons of Rav Chisda, said to Ravashi, Zimna Chada, one time, Ikla Ameimar La'asrin, Ameimar visited our town, V'loy Havalon Chamra, we didn't have any wine. Asina Le Shichra, V'loy Avda, we brought him beer, and he didn't make havdala on it. Ubas Tovas, and he went to sleep. It's a pasuk in Daniel, the Rashbam says, and he went to sleep fasting, right? So Lamachar, Tarchana, then the next day we will matriach ourselves. V'asina Le Chamra, we brought him wine, Va'avdil, and he made havdala v'tam midi, and then he ate. Right? So before we even go weiter with this, is that the din? Because this shiloh does come up. Somebody stuck in the hospital, they have nothing to make havdala on. Right? Does that mean they can't eat until somebody comes Sunday to make havdala for them? Right? In the winter, so there's still visiting hours. So people get there on the Motzei Shabbos. But in the summer, and Shabbos over 9 o'clock at night, visiting hours are over. They have nothing to make havdala with. So that means they have to starve the whole night. So we said Tosfos 4 blot ago on Kuf Beis on the Beis. Tosfos said, no, you're not allowed to eat before havdala, assuming you're going to have havdala relatively soon. But if you're not going to get havdala, then you're allowed to eat. Clearly, Amemar was not going with that. Amemar held that you couldn't eat. So l'chayra, he's being machmer, or it's fakert from Tosfos, one of the two, right? But that's not meaning we don't pasken like this ma'isa. If for whatever reason you know that you're not getting havdala in the near future, then you're allowed to eat. You don't have to fast. Okay, but that's what he did. He fasted. The shana the next year, su ikla la'asr, and he traveled again. Lo havelon chamar. Again, we didn't have wine. I seen a shichra, so we brought beer again to him. Omar, he says, if that's the case, ihachi, if so, that again you don't have any wine. Chamar Medina, this must be your wine, right? When we always say chamar Medina, what is chamar Medina? So chamar Medina means, the literal translation is, it's wine of your country, meaning your country does not have enough wine. So therefore, this is the substitute as wine. Again, back then, that's what they drank. They drank wine. So you don't have wine, so this is your wine. So if that's the case, havdala ta'aminis, then I'm going to make havdala, and then he ate, right? So Shema Mina Tlas, we hear from the story 3 things. Shema Mina mavda betfila tzarach sheyavdal ala kos. If you mavda betfila, you need to make havdala ala kos. V'shema Mina asar lo'adam sheyochel kodim sheyavdal. It's asar for a person to eat before he makes havdala. V'shema Mina mishalei hivdam etzei Shabbos mavda v'hayla kol Shabbos kuloi. You can be mavda the whole Shabbos, like we said, right? Fine. That's
why
didn't
he think that the first year?
What? Because he didn't understand that it was chamar Medina. He thought it was a fluke thing that they didn't have wine. So he's Ibazai, you don't have wine, you can't make havdala.
I don't want to be whatever. Why not just ask them?
Ask them what?
Say, why'd you bring me beer? How complicated is that?
If this is no, they couldn't find
that would have
one.
been the easiest thing to ask them. What's the story here? What's your minhag?
He did ask for wine. He did ask for wine.
No, but if you ask for wine and someone brings you beer, say, why'd you bring me beer? I asked you for wine.
No, they said they didn't have wine. They did not have wine. They didn't have wine. Right?
Well, regardless, that's the
He thought that they were just substituting. He thought that they were just substituting his wine for some random drink. In which case he said, I can't make havdala on a random drink. Right? The mashal, somebody says to you, you're looking for something to make havdala, and a guy says, I have milk. Right? So according to all opinions, milk is not chamar Medina. You can't make havdala on it. Right? It's pointless. So when they brought him this random drink, he thought, why are you bringing me this drink? It's not wine. Right? So then the next year, when he realized that this town doesn't have wine, and this is the drink that they have, so that's their wine, Mamela, that's something that's mutter to make havdala on. That's how the story goes. Right? So
what
to say?
By kiddush, we could do it on hamaitzi, but by havdala, you can't do it on, let's say, bread.
Oh, right. Excellent. Yeah, so there's a few things that are confusing here. So kiddush at night, you can make on bread. Kiddush in the morning, you can't make on bread. Also, how come you can't use chamar Medina for kiddush Friday night? Right? You can use it for kiddush day. We're going to say, well, it's coming up now, the rest of the Amud. You can make kiddush on chamar Medina in the morning. You can make havdala on chamar Medina. How come Friday night kiddush not? So the answer is, the pasken say, the main reason they say is because Friday night you have an option to make on bread, and bread is more chashuv. So it's better to make on bread. Shabbos day, how come you can't make kiddush on bread? Because then it's not nicker that there's any kiddush. You're not making any extra brachas. You need to make a bracha on something else Shabbos morning in order that it should be nicker that you're making some sort of kiddush. Havdala you can't make on bread because what was the reason again? Havdala you can't make on bread. I think also because it's not nicker. It's also not nicker that you're doing something special.
There's a special bracha.
I think that's what they say.
Bracha.
No, that's true. But I'm saying, but it's not. Maybe not. Maybe I'm mixing it up.
Can you be kovei suda on chamar Medina?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Meaning, we know that you could be kovei suda if you have 2 revius of wine Can you be kaveh suda on 2 revius of? I think I saw that you can. I think so.
Yaakov,
I
2
don't remember.
revius of wine would be kiddush b'acham suda.
2 revius of wine with kiddush b'acham suda. Some say even 1 revius, 1 full revius. Yeah, but 2 revius, yeah.
Yaakov, according to Rashbam,
You're on Pesach. That's very negay Pesach.
Yeah, when you make kiddush on Pesach.
according to Rashbam,
Yeah, what are you
it's only
saying,
true
Akiva?
when you don't have wine.
Don't have mezainis.
Right. For the non-gebrochters.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah, what do you
discussed last week.
Yeah, right. What are you saying, Akiva?
According to the Rashbam, that says it's because there is no wine in this city, and this is in place of wine. Would that if it's in a scenario where like nowadays we have wine that would that mean that everything else is not considered chamar Medina according to Rashbam?
Yes. But yeah, well, yes, we're going to discuss that in a minute. We'll have to get to the bottom of this because
clearly don't
a lot of
pasken
people
that way.
like to make. No, it's not so pashut. It's not pashut at all. It's really not pashut. Let's see the sugya weiter, and then we'll say making kiddush on chamar Medina and havdala on chamar Medina. If you have wine, if you don't have wine, it's one thing. But if you have wine, let's see.
The Rashbam is
the whole
mashma that it's not just if you it's not about you. It's about what the city is. If the city has wine, it's the type of city that has wine. You can't call anything else chamar Medina.
Then right. Like. Yes, and according to the Rashbam, it's very schwer that there's no such thing as chamar Medina. That's one of the issues with chamar Medina, is that what is chamar Medina? It's one thing to decide whether it's chamar Medina or not, make kiddush chamar Medina instead of why not. But what happens if you don't have a consensus of what chamar Medina is? So then the whole thing doesn't even get off the ground, right? But let's see the sugya first, and then we'll see. So can you make kiddush on beer or not? By the way, this beer is not our beer. This is a date beer, right? So Omar,
beer.
What?
They make
it's not our beer. It's not. I think theirs is I think theirs would be more chashuv than ours, but I don't know. That's another issue, that our beer is not considered a chashuv a drink at all. No.
See, Yaakov, I'm sorry. It depends what beer you have.
I mean, certainly not if it's Budweiser.
If you have Bud Light, it's garnish, it's Pesach's. If you have this beer that they sell for $25 a bottle in Belgium.
Right. Or
also in New York.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So Omar, so again, that was the Shiloh. Who asked from Chisda, what's the deal with making kiddush on a beer? Omar hashta uma presuma v'teini v'asni. What about this? Rashi, the Rashbam says it's barley and dates and some sort of from a bush, something like berries. Right? We asked the Shaila, if you make a drink from these things, and we asked from Rava, and they didn't have a pshat. I mean, he didn't know whether you can make kiddush on that. Do I need to know, do beer? Is there even a Shaila? Of course he's not going to allow beer. So some of maybe that's only kiddush that he didn't allow. But you would be able to make havdala.
Wait, what's he saying that there's no hava? That means that these 3 things are more chashuv than.
Yes, these things are more chashuv.
So this one of these is l'chayra our beer. Shecher sa'irim is what we call beer.
Yeah, so I don't know. It must be something. It must be something different. More by them, I guess it was more chashuv, right? Yeah. So havdala. So what's a pshat? That because Friday night you can make kiddush on bread, but havdala you can't. Right? Yeah. So he's saying, so he wanted to say that you can't make on beer. So just like you can't make kiddush on it, so too you can't make havdala. So according to these shitas, chamar Medina is out. You're not allowed to not allowed to make havdala, not allowed to make kiddush. Itmar nami Amar Rav Tachliva Baravimi Amar Shmuel Kashem Shem Mekachin Alav Kach Ein Mavdilan Alav. You cannot use it, not for havdala, not for kiddush. Levi, Shadale Larav Shichra Bar Tlesa Magni. Levi sent Rebbe beer that had 13 what do you call it? It went through 13 sets of dates. Meaning, what do they call it on the vodkas? Like, what do they call it? Not triple distilled. That's not what this is. Is it?
Infused,
what do they say on the
infused?
Infused, I guess, right. So it's a strong, very, very, very strongly infused with dates. So Tame, so Rebbe tasted it, right? Have a basim tuva, and it was had a lot of psamim in it, had a lot of flavor. Amar kagoyin zeh roy lekaddish alav. This is so geschmack that you could even make kiddush with this. Right? You can say all the praises on it in the world. But at night he had tsar. Right? He had to go to the bathroom a lot. So Amar miyasr and miyafis. It can give you such pain, and you can miyafis, mafayis. I'm sorry, you could use it to appease Hashem. Can that be? Must be that you can't use this stuff for kiddush or havdala. So Amar Rav Yosef, Ador berabim, Talai ishti shichra. I'm going to make a neder berabim. Now he was paskening. Taisa says, well, really Rosh Bam, that you make a neder berabim, you can't ever go back on it, which is not the way we pasken. But he says, I'll make a neder berabim that I'm not going to drink beer. Yeah? So Amar Rava, ishti, right? And then Rava says, ishti meiziruyan v'lai ishti shichra. I'd rather drink flax water than to drink beer. V'amar Rava, tavi shekyusa shichra manda mekadosh shichra. Whoever makes kiddush on beer, right? No, I'm saying, meaning if you make kiddush on beer, that should be your drink. Meaning you shouldn't be zeicher. You'd be so poor that you won't get wine. Fine. So obviously they were very not pro making kiddush on beer. Rav Ashker Rav Huna the Kaddish Shichra, but then Rav found Rav Huna that he did make kiddush on beer. Amralei Sharei Abba leMikni Istere Mishichra. It seems like Abba, right? That doesn't mean father, right? I mean, we said that we had this before, right? It just means it's a chashuva name that he's being kind. He's doing business from beer. So therefore, since he's doing business from beer, therefore he can make kiddush with it, right? So Tana Rabbanon ein mekachin ela ala yayin, vein mevarchen ela ala yayin. You don't make kiddush only on wine, and you only make birchas hamazon. You only make a bracha on wine. So the Gemara asks, Atu hashichra v'amayim milam mervachinan alayu shak only yebedvarei. What do you mean you only make brachas on wine, right? What about beer and water? You make a bracha shahakol. So what he meant was Amar Abaye hachi kama. This is what he meant. Ein imrim have kais shel bracha levarich ela yayin. Don't bring a kais to bench, right? Birchas hamazon also needs a kais. Only on wine. You can't do it on anything else. Yeah, Tana Rabbanon. Ein mekachin ala sheicher. You don't make kiddush with beer. Mishum Rebbe Elazar bar Rav Shimon Amru mekachin. You do make kiddush. Yeah, so that's it. So that's the end of that sugya. So the bottom line is we have many Amoraim who didn't make kiddush on chamar Medina, and many that did. So what's the psak?
This is talking Friday night.
I know. I think it's really talking Shabbos day.
Yeah.
Right. It's really talking Shabbos day. Yeah.
Okay. But Yaakov,
because Friday night we say bread is more important. To make kiddush on bread is more important. Right. Yeah.
The story with Rav Huna that he found Rav was making it, kiddush on date beer, and he says Shari Abba because he held it was chashiv. Why does it matter? And Rashbam says even though in the ear it was yayin, because he held it was chashiv be'ena because he was making money on it. He held it was for him was chamar Medina. Why do we all of a sudden say that every it's subjective to the person? Shouldn't it be tully in the ear?
Yes, it's an interesting thing, but the way I think it means is that since he was doing business in it, that means that people were drinking on a steady basis.
No, but it seems like it's Yafa Bein Necha, the Rashbam and Rashi say. For him, it was chashiv.
Right. Yeah.
So who cares what's chashiv to you? That shouldn't be, especially a din of chamar Medina, which is Medina in the lashon itself. It says that has to be something that's accepted in the klal, in the ear.
Maybe he
whatever it
was
is.
the Rav. Maybe
Right.
he was the Rav of that city.
Even if he's the Rav of the city, he doesn't get to decide what the Hamaynam do, what the
Right.
general
Yes, he
population
does.
And a
does.
chanami.
No, but he would
Yeah,
be the
yes,
first
he
person
does.
to know.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. The
No,
Hamaynam decides
the
that.
guy, excuse me, the guy decided what to do in Vilna. Chaim Sofer decided what to do in
That's
Preshburg.
psak. That's not what's considered chashuv in people's eyes. Those are two different things.
It's everything.
No, it's not
used-
everything.
You're not used to a real rabbi. What can I tell you?
This has nothing to do with a real rabbi. What does one have to do with the other? You're saying this in front of our Rav right here? What kind of thing was that?
I'm not saying
Our Rav is
Listen.
more of an unav than he is a Rav. What can I tell you?
You don't have to be an honor for him.
listen. What do you call it? I think that if they were doing business with it, so that means he was doing business.
I'd be
Right?
mind if Rashi, if the Rashbam said it wasn't just about him, it was about how it proliferated into the general population. But it seems like it was because it was
Right.
him, because he looked at it that way.
Right. I hear. It's a good aura. So now, okay, what did the pasken say?
I don't
Lamaisa?
understand.
What is
Why-
chamar?
Why can't
Yeah.
you say it's this Gemara is smack in between Rav Aaron and Akiva? He was the distributor.
Yeah.
So he was the one who was able to pasken that it's chamar Medina. He knows who had it. He knows exactly who bought it.
I hear you. That's not the way the Rashbam
Okay.
explains it, though.
Okay.
It's not as much fun
I hear.
to be in the middle. It's not as much fun.
That's true. Okay, so Lamaisa, what is the Lamaisa with chamar Medina? So there's three types of chamar Medina that the place can bring. One is it has to be alcoholic, right? It has to have alcohol in it. If it doesn't have alcohol in it, it's not chamar Medina. People, the second thing is that people use it as a substitute for wine. That's the second shita. I don't remember who the Manda Amrim are. And the third shita is you give it to guests. Right? So the question is, what fits into all three? If you want to get involved with the whole chamar Medina thing, what type of drink fits in according to all three? Okay, so beer, maybe, right? Because it has alcohol. People use it as a substitute for wine. I don't know. Right? Would you give it to guests? I think you do give it to guests. So that's why many people use beer. Right? Many people would be. Schnapps, for sure, right? I think schnapps does fit into it. You use schnapps as a substitute for wine. It's alcohol, and you'd give it to guests, right? You want to have a nice drink. What about coffee? Coffee has the second two, doesn't have the first one. Tea is the same thing.
How about an Irish coffee?
That would be better,
Coffee you
probably.
add whiskey to. Yeah.
That would probably be better.
Why would the Rav say that coffee is a substitute for wine, but beer is not a substitute for wine?
No, I would say if you're going to say coffee is a substitute for wine, then I think then beer would also be a substitute for wine. I would agree with what you're saying. But the point is that I think this is why the minig became. I think we asked this the other day. Why nobody makes kiddush on beer Shabbos morning? You ever see anybody make kiddush on beer Shabbos morning? They make havdala on it. They don't make kiddush on beer. I think the pshat is because the way the Shulchan Aruch paskins, right, like what Akiva was saying, that the Rashbam is saying that if you have wine, you should not be making kiddush on chamar Medina. But the poskim say if you really enjoy chamar Medina more than wine, then it's no problem, right? So most people, what I understand, beer is not chashuv enough to be considered chashuv enough to make kiddush. Why havdala? Yeah, I don't know. But that's the basic issue. Now, what about you could use? By the way, you could use chamar Medina for the daled kaises too, if necessary, right? That's always a shaila. What would be the best drink for the daled kaises, right?
Wine. What do you mean
So,
by wine?
No,
If
if
somebody
you
doesn't
can't
like-
have wine.
But somebody
Let's
doesn't
say
have.
somebody can't have
Or somebody's right.
diabetics, whatever it is, that absolutely can't have wine. So which one is it?
I would say
Right.
probably not beer.
Why not?
No, beer would not be a good one. Beer would not be good.
Tequila, Gershon, tequila.
All right, Blech had a patient take a beer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about the coffee, I guess? Coffee.
What about orange juice? People
I don't know why.
orange juice.
But it's a personal thing or what the Veld holds?
No, it's like the Veld. It's that's what Akiva is saying, that it shouldn't be a personal thing, but that's what the Veld. It should be what the Veld is meaning.
A lot of
the
people that
reason
don't
why
like
more
coffee.
people.
It has to be
No,
widely
it's saying
accepted.
it is widely accepted. You can't say coffee is not widely accepted as a
There's
social
a bunch
drink.
of people that don't
What
like
about
coffee.
soda?
There's a bunch of people. What does that mean? The whole
That's
world
true,
drinks
but
coffee.
Most of the world drinks coffee. What about
What's
soda?
the definition of a social drink?
What?
What's the definition of a social drink?
That people are. So what about soda? Rav Moshe answers your question. What about soda? So soda, Rav Moshe says, anything that's meant to be consumed because you're thirsty, right, cannot be chamar Medina. Right? So coffee, nobody drinks coffee because they're thirsty, as far as I know. Right? It's a social drink. When it's either a social drink or you're getting your caffeine kick or whatever it is. But most of the time you sit down, you serve somebody tea, you serve somebody coffee. It's a social drink. That's the way it is.
Some of us scotch wouldn't work.
Would you?
What?
Would you, Tzviar, then would you make a chiluk on iced coffee then?
It's better or worse?
No, worse. I'm saying people they have giant cups of iced coffee. They walk around with the whole day.
I don't know if you could be mechalik in coffees. Coffee is coffee, whether it's cold, hot. I don't know. What about cold brew? What are you saying, Paris?
Better than coffee than the regular coffee.
That could be. Now,
Wait, so
what about
the question? You
benching?
said soda is no good then? Soda or
Soda's no
Snapple?
good because nobody drinks. Yeah, that's all meant for thirst. It's not meant as a social thing. Any of those things are not meant for but here, but I coming out with a big chumrah here for parrots especially. Yeah. Benching. What about benching on chamar Medina? So here the Gemara just ends off by saying you shouldn't do it. Right? But because wine is more chashuv. But what happens if you're not going to bench on wine? You're not going to bench on wine. But you have schnapps, and you're gonna sit down to a drink of schnapps right after the Suda again. Right? So should you bench on a kais of schnapps or beer? You know, a lot of times you have after the Suda, you want to sit down and have a beer. Right? I believe if you're gonna do that, you should pour the beer before benching. I didn't research it too much. I looked into it a little bit today. To me, it sounds like that would be the proper thing to do. Obviously, it's not as good as wine, but if you're sitting there, you have the beer on the table, so pour it into a kais and bench on beer. No? Okay, whatever. That's my chumrah of the day.
Where does Rav Moshe get? How does he make that delineation? Based on what?
What, the thirst?
Yeah.
I don't know, because wine, Lamaisa, they drank for thirst back then, right? I think.
Right now, that's
Maybe
what
not.
I'm asking. That's what you said before.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember. From what I remember, it's a long tshuva, but I didn't look it up today. But that's what he holds, and that's the Olam has accepted that pesach. Okay, so then let's see weiter. 6 lines up from the bottom. Yeah, matimas yayin kol shehu. How much wine do you have to drink? So the first shita says a kol shehu. If we pasken like this shita, half our problems by the Seder would be over, right? But unfortunately, we don't pasken like this shita, right? So Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Malay Lugmav. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda says, you have to have a cheekful, right? Now, what is a cheekful? So Zak the Taisvis, the second Taisvis up, because this is also negaya to how much you're allowed to drink on Yom Kippur. If somebody's a Nebuchadnezzar Chayla, and he has to drink on Yom Kippur, how much could he have? So it says, because Mefarish biyuma, Kol shilam esalka letzad echad yire kimaloi lugma. What you do is you push the liquid to one side of your cheek, and you fill up that cheek, so it looks like your cheek is full. That's what a maloi lugma is, and that's pachas miravius, kanarin and hasam. Right? Okay, whatever, but that's I'm sorry, let's say that's Kim Malay Lugmav. Yeah. But But what's malay lugmav? That's he says Amrin Hasam Davi Yosem Revius. Venira Shehu Raiv Revius. Malay lugmav is a raiv of a revius. Damrin lakaman who the shasa ruba the kaisa, but you also have to drink raiv of the kais. The dafka ladam beinini, and that's only to a medium-sized person. Of a laig melech habasham. But if the guy has got a mouth the size of laig melech habasham, then you need to have more. Meaning it's subjective. This is a subjective shear. Malay lugmav is depending on how big your mouth is and how big your cheeks are. So that's gonna be dependent on how much you have to drink, right? So that's negeya to Yom Kippur. It's also negeya to kiddush, right? Yeah. So anyway, so that's.
I thought Yom Kippur they give the standard size bottle cap.
They do because it's people don't get nervous when you start telling. The real way to do it is fill up one cheek and spit it out. So if the rabbi knows that somebody has a very large mouth, they should tell them to do that. They can.
You could drink half a Snapple bottle because that fits in one size. Okay, got it.
That's what. Right. Yeah, it's exactly what does it say. Yeah. Anyways, so Rabbi Yosef Yehuda says Malay Lugmav. So Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav v'chein Tani Rav Gidol Demanara Shamakadosh v'tam Malay Lugmav Yatsa. If you makadosh and you taste Malay Lugmav, you're Yatsa. V'im lav, and if not, lo Yatsa. Because you didn't have enough. So Amar Rav Nachum Yitzchak Ana Tanina La. I learned this but like Gidol B'Menashe. I didn't learn that it was Gidol B'Menashe. But like Gidol B'Menyume, and now Gidol B'Menyume, Ella Gidol Stama. It was just learned that his name was Gidol. So the Mainaf Gemina, who cares what his name is? So Lamir Medideh, no, because if they're going to ask steerers from one to the other, we have to know exactly who the author of this psak is. So in case there's something there's a psak that's different, then it's a problem. Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to stam say b'shem maimer anyways? What's the Gemara mean? Mainaf Gemina. You should always say b'shem maimer.
No, that's true, but meaning it is b'shem Imre, but just they want to make sure they get his name straight, right? That's what I think.
Can you say that there's a machlokes Tosfos and the Rashbam? That Tosfos says the dinim of kiddush are subjective, and the Rashbam is saying they're objective. Well, but they're both saying subjective. The same way Tosfos is saying if Malay Lugmav depends on the size of your mouth. The Rashbam is saying the chamar Medina, what you can make it on is depends what's chashuv to you. Like Rav Huna made on schnapps, on beer, not whatever, not wine.
I don't know. I'm not sure. From the Gemara's mashman, it's always subjective, right? But the kais is not. That's what's interesting. The kais size is not subjective. The kais size has to be revius regardless. It's just a matter of how much of that you have to drink, right? I'm surprised nobody for Pesach made charts to blow out your cheeks or something, and bring to the seder, blow out your cheek and try that and see how much wine do you have to have.
I don't think anyone's taking a shear that you created in your cheek.
Not you yourself, each person.
Right, but you'd have to measure it out in your cheek first.
Right, so they should They should give that out with the charts for the matzah and the lora. You
set
measure
that,
your cheeks.
That's the minimum, but that's the minimum. You got to be
text,
machmir. You got to be machmir.
Right. So what is it all
Mr. Shem, you could tell it to Howie, Mr. Shem, when he gets up from the shiva, or you could have Ami give it away free with any custom suit you buy for Yontif.
You get yourself a cheek measure.
Yeah.
But, okay. Anyways.
It's like there's a shita that is makel just mali lugmav. So does that apply to the arbakaisis as well? Let's say, I don't know, if some certain people are sensitive.
What do you mean?
Or any
just drink a malay lugmav?
Yeah.
Yeah, for arbakaisis. Yeah, my arbakaisis. The ikar din is to be yaitz arbakaisis malay lugmav. That's the ikar din. It's no different arbakaisis than the rest of any other Shabbos.
So it's that one.
But because it's chayrus and all that, so you should try and drink more. But ikar din malay lugmav will cut it. Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. These people, they get especially the pregnant women, get all nervous about what they're going to drink by the Siddharim and all that. You know how little you have to drink? If you go with Ramesha's Revius, which is 3.3, right? of grape juice, and you're using grape juice, which is a stira because Ramosha holds you can't use grape juice. But okay, but let's say you're using grape juice and you're using Ramosha share 3.3. So Malay Lugmav is doing the math 1.6 ounces, right? 1.65, 1.7, 1.7. Okay, but the Lamaisa is Shitas that hold that Revius is 2.9. So 1.6 will cover. You know what? 1.6 of grape juice.
Shot glass.
It's a little bit more than a schnat. I mean, it's very doable to be yikes at $1 crisis.
A shot glass is 1 ounce. Standard shot glass.
Okay, so it's a little bit more. It's a 1.5. So it's very doable. Okay. Anyways, now that's it. Now we're
Didn't we have a Gemara that says that they had the dalakosis and they were in pain? I think from Pesach until Shavuos. The Gemara says they drank the
coming
yain.
up.
So what was the issue with the bitzar before? So what's the difference? The Rashbam says, how could you go ahead and do a say kiddush on it? They did a mitzvah with the dalakosis. They were bitzar from the dalakosis. So they still have to do it. He had an issue with having the beer, so they had to do it over there also. They had to drink the dalakosis. They knew they were going to be a bitzar from Pesach to Shavuos. They had to do it anyways.
I mean, so why did he?
By Rebbe,
for regular kiddush. Yeah. Right. So, but there he was for regular kiddush. Regular kiddush, you're not mechuyev to.
What's the difference?
Right.
What's the difference?
No, because there's a special din by the dalakos because of presume nisa. Dalakos presume nisa. That's why dalakos also you take the shirt off your back to get dalakos. We're more machmer dalakos than we are for a regular kiddush. But we have to see if we do that Gemara. What do you say?
No, it's not a deraisa derabanan thing. It's not like Shabbos day.
No, it's not. No, dalakos is, if anything, dalakos is the rabbanon, and kiddush could be a deraisa, especially if you didn't daven ma'ariv. Right? So no, it's not. It's a presume nisa type thing, the way I understand it. But we're going to see that that's not pashut. Everybody quotes it that mameli you have to be sick till Shavuos and all that. It doesn't. They were not functioning. If somebody is going to be non-functioning because of dalad koisis, then they don't drink dalad koisis. Right? A lot of people. Well, we'll have to see when we learn that Gemara exactly what it meant. Okay.
Excuse me, Rav Shiakov, 1 second.
Yeah.
Yuri, a standard shot is 1.25 to 1.5. Only in Utah, it's 1 ounce.
So the little plastic cups are all made in Utah?
I don't know what it is. Just because you have a plastic, give you.
I don't know. Standard plastic cups that you buy for shot glasses are 2 ounces in the store here.
2 ounces? Now we got. Look at this.
You're buying
those are thimbles. Those are not shot glasses. Those are for sewing.
Very good. I get a lot of chizik out of this because we learned the Gemara and we see 4, 5 different shitas of what this size is. And here it is. We can't even figure out how big a schnapps glass is. We already heard 3 different shitas of how big a schnapps glass is.
Who cares? Just drink. What's in it?
There you go.
The item on this stuff here is machmer.
I made shalom zaka. I went to the store.
We do care
right
for
here,
person.
this is what I found in the store: 2 ounce shot glasses.
Those are the big ones.
Those are the big
ones.
There's the only thing I can find.
Oh, those are the big ones.
Naftali, because your shear, you're Ike Melech HaBashan. You have your shear of Malay Lugmav is much bigger than everybody else's.
That's why I get the 1 ounce ones.
Yes.
Mustafa, everyone on the daf is machmer on the tzlach anyway.
That could be. That's coming up Wednesday's daf. Okay, hold that thought till Wednesday. Okay, fine. So let's see weiter. Now we're done with the Shabbos. Now we start Hilchos Pesach. So samach lemincha. So what does the Mishnah say? That you're not allowed to eat samach lemincha. Now which mincha? See, boilu they add a shaila. Yeah, samach lemincha gedola tanan. I do with samach lemincha katana tanan. Is it samach lemincha gedola, which is we learned a half hour after chatzos, right? Which for us erev Pesach it'll be be'erech 1:30 in the afternoon, or does it mean mincha katana, which is going to be 3 hours after that?
I never understood this kasha. The Gemara all of a sudden forgot the brisa that was immediately after the Mishnah. The brisa said mitesha shows.
The brisa says mitesha shows. Yeah, so understand.
That's not mincha gedola.
But the Mishnah doesn't say. Well, that's sort of what the
No.
Gemara is going to say on the base.
Yeah, but we had it already. This is not a new kasha. The Gemara asked it right after the Mishnah.
Right, I guess. I hear you are very good. Okay, so anyways, what would be the issue? Because if you're going to eat mishum pesach, why? Because of the korban pesach, you're going to end up drinking and eating whatever it is, and you're going to end up not being marked with the korban pesach. Now we're on top of base. You're not going to do your korban pesach, right? Okay, so good. So then maybe if you mark your korban pesach according to this day, you should be able to eat. Right? So then Tosfos already says that. No, we're afraid if you're going to eat even after you mark the korban pesach, you're going to end up dealing with that. You're going to end up getting distracted that way. You won't end up eating it. And you're going to do the pesach shaloi kirai, right? Dilma, or is it samach mincha katana tanana b'shum matzah? And the whole reason is matzah. Dilma asi lemichle lematzah achila gasa, because you're going to end up eating achila gasa. What does that mean, achila gasa? Which is much different than what we were saying before, right? Gershon, when you were asking before, the reason to eat it before, not to eat before, is because you need to eat l'teyavan. Here, the Gemara seems to have a problem. Achila gasa is not an achila, right? That's the problem. Meaning, if you're stuffed and then you're eating matzah, your achilas matzah, which is the only deraisa achila in the whole year, right, of a specific food, is going to be an achila gasa, and then memela you're not yaitza. So that's the shaila. So Amar Ravina Tashima, Afilu Agrifas Hamelech, even Agrifas Hamelech, which is a machlaikis, whether he was a good guy or a bad guy, Shehu Ragel Lecha B'Teisha Shais, he normally ate 9 hours into the day. Oisa Yoim Lo Yochel At Shetesha. On erev Pesach, he didn't eat until it gets dark. So now, if you say that it's referring to someone mincha katana, which is the later mincha, 9.5 hours into the day, I don't reduce it to agrifas. That's the kiddush of agrifas, that he didn't eat till later. Yeah, Ella. But if it's referring to someone mincha gedola, my rebuse to agrifas, what's agrifas saying? Right? I'm not saying. What's the kiddush of agrifas? Chal isur alei meikara. Right? It's already a problem from chatzos. Right? What's the chiddush of agrifas? Ella samach lemincha katana. So it must be that it's samach lemincha katana. So Gemara says, "Saif my revusi de agrifas." Still, what's the chiddush of agrifas? Hamatiles mani surah. It's here. By the time agrifas eats, it's already also to eat. Right? Agrifas can't even start his suda because that's not his normal time to eat. Because again, a king eats much later into the day. He eats 9.5 hours into the day. So one says no. Ma the same at Tesha shows la agrifas karba shows the dandami 9 hours into the day for agrifas. That was his normal time to eat. Is our 4 hours, meaning our regular people eat 4 hours into the day. Kings eat 9 hours into the day. So Mamela, maybe for him, since that's his regular eating time, he'll be quite hungry later on, right? Because it's like breakfast for him. So Kamash Malon, then no, he would not be able to, right? So therefore, the maskanas advarim is that it's from mincha katana, which is a relief, right? Because otherwise, we'd have to stop eating by chatzos on erev Pesach. That wouldn't be so great. Yeah, fine. So Amar Rabbi Yosi, you're allowed to be toivel with mini tagima, meaning you could have snacks. You don't. It's only kviya suda that's also. Rav Yitzchak matful beyarkin. Rav Yitzchak was toivel with vegetables. This sounds like some interesting food. The shamish would dip the intestines and put it in front of the orchim.
You don't have to stop dipping on erev yontif so that it's make a hecker between yontif night.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? It's interesting that you don't have to, right? It's interesting that you would think that you should stop, but no, I guess only for matzah. Only matzah, not dipping. But that was the regular way to eat. So that's
the question. It's usually you dip once, so you're even strengthening the question.
Right.
Dipping once.
But here already, well, now it's going to be a third time he's saying tip. Well, that's different meals. It's different meals. But
it's one meal. You're dipping once, and you're saying,
right.
Normal.
Yeah. Enochanami. So it's not a riot. This is zeicha shenemar niru lachem nir val tizru el kaitzim. Right, plow and don't put on and don't plant bushes, right? Thorn bushes, right? So you gotta, what do you call it? You gotta, this is called appetizer, right? You eat something during the afternoon, and that will open up your stomach. Rava havashasi chamra kule malayama de pischa. Rava drank a whole erev pesach. There you go. I think a lot of people are knowing like this. Kiechi de nigre lelibe, so that it would actually make his heart go after the food, meaning it would act as an appetizer. The neichel matzah tfeil order like this, he'll eat. Now, does this mean he'll eat more matzah, or does it mean he'll eat the matzah better? Right? Because there's a mitzvah for every kazayas matzah you eat, at least on the first night. Gra holds the whole Pesach, but first night for sure, every kazayas you eat is another mitzvah. Okay, so I'm not sure. How do I know that wine makes you have an appetite? It's not. Between the two kaises, the first two kaises, right? Rashi and the Rashbam say means that between the first and second kais, if you want to drink. But between the third and the fourth kais, you're not allowed to. Obviously, between the second and the third, that's Shulchan Aruch that you're allowed to. Right? And if you're going to say that drinking wine fills you up, how are you going to be able to drink between the first and second kais? You're going to end up eating the matzah, achila gasa. The reason why you're allowed to drink extra wine between the first kais and the second kais is because it's going to make you actually have an appetite for the matzah, and therefore it won't be, what do you call it? Yeah. Okay, I guess it's it for tonight. I see Dr. Corman texting me that the Mishnah Brura says that the reason why havdala, where is it? The reason why havdala you can't make on bread is because there's no suda next to it, right? Since there's no suda affiliated with havdala, so therefore you can't make on bread. Thank you for that, doctor. All right, good night, everybody. Hatzlacha.
It would be Mechayev.
Thank you.
You can make havdala on peach. You wouldn't have to go out of the house later.
Yeah, right. I have a brother-in-law who washes a minute after he makes havdala. He sits down and washes. So I told him, Azach Machmer, he holds you have to have havdala but makan suda. Right? So that's but yeah.
But see,
anyways, yeah.
Stama Shaila, I was speaking with somebody about quartz countertops.
You and everybody. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask it. What is it? It absorbs. It doesn't absorb. What level of kashrus do you need on it?
It's the whole thing. The whole thing is that it's, from what I understand, it's stone mixed in with rubber
resin.
Or whatever resin.
Right. 86% stone. It's 4% resin.
Right. So how it's boilea? How do we look at it in terms of trying to kasher it?
So I think everybody pretty much says you could kasher it except the star K. I think.
Does it even need kasher? It needs
kasher and granite.
It's more problems or less
because
problems?
granite is a natural stone. The only reason why we're able to use it for countertops is because they seal it. Now, a lot of poskim hold that the sealant is basically turning it into plastic because it has that plastic content.
Well, they have that problem with granite too.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm talking about. Quartz, you don't have a sealant. Because the way they make it, because of the 4% resin, it doesn't need, it's part of the process.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that the same thing though? At the end of the day, shouldn't they be looked at as the same thing?
From what I understand, from being in the business, quartz is even better than granite as far as.
Does it get ruined? Is it something that could get ruined if you put too hot water, or it's
not hot water? No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. What about if you iron it? What if you iron it?
I don't know if that would be. It has to be a very high temperature because the way they make it, the way it's engineered, is with very high temperature. So the only
but it's a lot easier enough to damage from heat than granite.
Yes, because the process that it's made is with heat, but not. We're talking about an iron. We're talking about taking a pot off the stove that's red hot and putting it on the counter. There you can have a problem because the way they make the product is with extreme heat.
So you're saying water poured on it wouldn't be a problem?
No.
But it would kasher.
I have my block next to my my fake quartz countertop, whatever, and it never melts or gets damaged, even though it gets very, very, very hot from the block.
It's true because it's not. It doesn't just because it didn't happen doesn't mean it can happen. But they say that any extreme heat. We're not talking about a blech, heat from a blech. We're talking about taking a fire hot red pot off of a flame and putting it on the counter. That's what we're more concerned.
Now, what about now the sealant? They have like this 3M stuff. Like if people don't maintain the sealant on their stone countertop, does that mean it becomes porous again?
Yes.
It's porous, but it's porous even with the sealant.
Not so much. Not so much. If you go through, people that have granite should be sealing it every year. Nobody does, and I'm in the industry. Nobody does. But if you look and you feel over your granite, and you feel a place that's very smooth, and then you feel a place that's rough, the rough part is probably a place where you use more continuously.
A lot of the stuff, Natalia, it also depends on where the granite comes from. The granite from China, the stuff is the sealing is absolute garbage.
Yes, because it's also fissions in the granite that you're having. So
you also probably shouldn't be putting food directly on those countertops because of whatever they make the sealant out of. That's just saying.
Well, both. I tell people never to put anything directly on the counter, no matter if it's quartz or granite.
But for Pesach, you don't let people kosher quartz for Pesach, do you?
Yes, I do.
Of course.
Oh,
why not?
Okay. I don't know. I thought you used to
Elio, that was literally my question.
Are we just supposed to put that food
that was your question.
After all the Ian, you got your answer.
Yeah,
Can't we just put that? Can't we put that newfangled saran wrap over the counters and be done with it?
I was almost sure that you said you were not allowed to kosher for quartz for Pesach.
No,
Elio, it's a good thing you didn't do what the Gemara did and not ask him.
I don't know.
Quartz for 7 to 10 years. You don't have to touch it.
Somebody could check the Star K's website. I think the Star K says no because they're very marked on plastic. The reason not to kasha would be because of the resin.
But by the way,
that's why I was asking, Giacomo. That was my question.
Into the stone.
That fancy contact paper, that's okay, right? We could use that, just cover it and don't bother koshering.
Yes.
It says, this is what it says: porcelain enamel, DuPont Corian quartz surface. Star K policy does not allow koshering of plastic or materials with plastic components. For Pesach use, clean and covered for cold food. Use cardboard or thick pad for hot food or utensils.
Yeah, but they're the only ones that hold that.
The CRC also says porcelain countertops you can't. Just
porcelain countertop.
Yeah, porcelain you can. Porcelain you can.
Porcelain and Corian. You mentioned Corian. Nobody does Corian.
Porcelain's the same thing. It's ground up stuff.
It's
not natural stone. It's not cut off.
Yaakov, is it because quartz mostly is made out of a stone?
Stone is an issue also. A stone is porous.
It's not.
By the way, this. Yeah.
Marble.
By the way, this whole thing of not koshering plastic is Ramosha Feinstein's chumrah. Many others disagreed with him. He says the only reason you can't kosher plastic for Pesach is because he says we don't know what it is, so because of Pesach, so therefore you shouldn't kosher it. But there are many that hold that you can kosher plastic, right? But and even according to Ramosha, this is just because he doesn't know what it's made out of. So we have no idea. Does it absorb? Is it not absorb? Is it like klicheres? Is it not like klicheres? Right?
Let me tell you something about quartz. Why most Rabbanim hold it's fine is because the thing is not penetrable to a certain,
So if it's not penetrable, how does it ever become usher?
What?
Has it ever become usher?
Meaning, if nothing penetrates it, right? So then, how does it become chametz?
Oh, it's on the surface. You're wiping it down.
Yeah, the CRC says you can kosher everything.
I'm saying if it's not penetrable, if it's not penetrable, then just wash it down.
No, because they can say the same thing with pot. Your stainless steel pot is not penetrable.
A pot does penetrate.
No, it doesn't. What?
Pot is by Leia.
Does this with stainless steel pot.
Whatever I'm saying, but the same thing with the countertop, but it's not penetrating as far as food is inside of it.
Did the guy get an answer on that, Matt?
I forgot to ask him again.
You want me to
Forgot to
text
ask.
Colin?
All right. Either
no,
way,
let me-
I'm gonna come out
you
with courts you're able to. That's what we came out with tonight. Shine.
Exactly.
Yes, you can. 100%.
Unless you have Formica.
One.
We're not talking about Formica courts. That's what everyone does these days. Courts.
I can
Isn't
cover.
Formica from the 60s?
Yes.
Going
Yeah,
back,
but people do it.
going back.
Naftali, nowadays, how many people use courts for their kitchen? I would say a lot, no?
99.5%.
Right.
It's cheaper and better.
It's not cheaper.
It's cheaper than granite.
Granite
Not
is only going to be
cheaper.
cheaper if you buy one of these Uba Tubas or tan browns that people used 20 years ago. Okay, no one's doing it anymore. So now the granites that people are doing are all wavy, and they're all going to cost the same amount as quartz.
Quartz, you have more control over the coloring, though.
Exactly, quartz is more.
That's why people like
more
quartz.
subtle. So
You
now
also-
people are skipping granite.
If you go granite, you're dealing with a natural material, so you're going to look at a slab one place, and then you're going to get it installed. It's going to look completely different than the slab you picked out in the yard.
Well, not if you pick the slab from the yard, which is.
Oh yeah, you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they'll
if you
pull
look
the
at-
slabs out for you.
No, but
Sometimes.
that's not the issue. Now people are doing quartzite because they love that the subtleness of quartz, but they don't. They want natural stone, so they're
That's
paying
more
for
expensive.
those, $4,000 or
Yeah.
$5,000 a slab.
They're also
They're
very
quartzite.
brittle, Naftali.
What?
They're very brittle.
Brittle, you have fissions, a lot of fissions. It's
Very
crazy,
brittle.
but people are crazy.
Rabbi, back to the Revius question. So it came out that to be Yates, you only need a Malilugmav. What about the size of the cup? Does it matter?
That's not.
Yeah, you need
That's
to have a
the problem.
revius.
That's what he always says. That
That needs to be a revius.
The cup has to always be a
That
Revius.
needs to
Drink the Malilugmav.
Yes.
that's why Sfiako always says these
Correct.
people with the big kais and everybody, and then they
Very
go.
good. You actually listen. You actually listen.
One
Wow,
day,
look at
one
that.
day.
What?
one day.
What's this thing?
It's better to have a smaller kais, but the kais has to be at least the size of a revius.
But if you have a big kais and then you try to get a revius, you're double the amount of that you need.
No, that's not the reason that you're close, Naftali. Not bad, not bad. You're close. No, because Pesach, you're supposed to try and drink the entire kais. And if not the entire kais, then at least roiv kais. So that's why it's better to have the whole kais and less wine than a bigger kais
and
not be able to drink the whole kais.
And how many ounces is it, Halach Lamaisa? Revius?
It's gonna go out in the
Wait for Wednesday.
Wait for the cheat
It's gonna
sheet.
go out in the no Wednesday. We ain't discussing it on Wednesday. It's a wait for the cheat sheet, but 5 point. I go on the cheat sheet 5.2, 3.3, and 2.9 if necessary.
By the way, can I just use last year's cheat sheet or there's new and updated information?
There's always updates slightly here and there, but you could use last year.
And then the Malilugmav is half of that, right?
Malay Lugo was half of that. Correct. Yep.
That's
Yep.
B'diavad, no one pays off. Dalit Kaisis.
What?
Isn't Malay Lugma the B'diavad for Dalit Kaisis?
It is a bidiyah, but we're talking about for people that have the bidiyah.
Yeah.
So I don't know bidiyah. Is bidiyah maybe too strong a term? I'm not sure.
Well, the Chatchila is
the whole
the whole Kais.
Yeah.
And really
And
wine.
there's-
You should push yourself to drink the wine.
So it's
Yeah,
like
that's already.
the whole
That's
Kais,
already.
and then Rav Kais, and then Malilugmav. That's like the
Yeah.
Wait, the whole Kais, then Revius, then Roiv Kais,
No.
then
No.
Malay Lugma.
Right. Whole kais,
I mean,
right
sorry.
kais.
Yeah.
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 All right.
I'm trying to send out of my Pesach cheat sheet now, and it's not uploading properly. I don't know, man. Why can't this?
Too early. Too early.
No,
We're not going to remember by
Pesach,
then.
no, Pesach prep, not no.
Pesach prep. Okay. Not the Seder.
We'll put it on the website and send everyone the link to it.
Are we doing
Easier.
a shear on the Pesach Seder like we did last year?
Yes, Bez Hashem. That'll be in one of the other days.
I either see him,
What?
I either see him.
Oh, I will see. Yeah, maybe. Anyways, all
The
right.
Siyum's going to be next Sunday, correct? Not next Sunday.
No
two
idea.
Sundays.
What did the island
Never,
try?
yeah.
What did the Olam decide? Is it on a Sunday?
Presumably, it's
We're
going to be on
finished.
the
When are we
days.
finished?
I think Sunday is the day it finishes.
Is that so?
Do we get to see Icky?
It's Hashem.
Icky's gonna be here. Yeah.
Awesome.
Of course, we'll see Gershon. That's
I have to work on something. I don't know. I need a sponsor maybe, or a partial sponsor. We'll see. Ritz Hashem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good night.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Okay. I
Shikaya.
gotta. Have a.
Oh, Ritz Yak. Oh, okay.
That's nice.